I'm Steve Thomas. I'm going to give a little talk here. Should run, give or take, 30, 35 minutes about are you a hacker and what makes you a hacker. Talking with Tyler, Tyler says, please do come up with something. So I did, and there's going to be a little bit of humor into this. There's going to be a little bit of craziness, if you want to call it that. A little bit of some stories also. The bottom line is, if you don't have a sense of humor in IT security or cybersecurity, the door's there. Well, there we go. And it's about that you're going to be subjected to a little bit of raw humor, satire, frolic through thoughts, observation about a subject that's really near and dear to everyone within the cybersecurity industry, as I mentioned, so you've been warned. Tyler's not here to enjoy this. This is an inside joke between Tyler and me. Basically, welcome to How Not to Hack a Bathroom 101. Last year at ANYCon here, he asked me to throw together a 5-minute dissertation, and when that happened, one of the bathrooms upstairs broke. So I said, we could throw something together based upon, how to hack a bathroom from the Three Stooges perspective. And he said, dude, that would be awesome. I said, I don't have the time. I'm not sure who's going to get those jokes anyway. But again, it's an inside joke between Tyler and I. We have a little bit of a disclaimer. And basically, if you can read the first line, and that is, the warranty for this talk is void upon, it was actually void yesterday. So we'll move on from there. And that is, if anybody has ever seen these words, this is actually from the Hacker Manifesto, and it continues on that, yes, I'm a criminal, my crime is that of curiosity, my crime is that of outsmarting you, something that you'll never forgive me for. And that's out of the Hacker Manifesto by the mentor. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the terms hacker, or where it actually came from. It actually began in the 1960s out of MIT. You got a bunch of people that were really, really smart at programming in Fortran and some older 2G, 3G languages, more so 2G. And they were calling them nerds, they were calling them all kinds of different names. And basically what stuck was they were hacking away on problems. So they became known as hackers. Those are the true hackers. Wikipedia, everybody loves Wikipedia, states that reflecting on the two types of hackers, there are two definitions of the word hacker. One, adherence to technology and programming subculture. Someone who is able to subvert computer security. If doing so for malicious purposes, the person can also be called a cracker. I don't know if anybody wants to agree with that or not. That's up to you. But beyond that, a couple side notes about a cracker. The cracker is not a slave owner, the original formation of the word, or an overseer cracking a whip. Cracker predates the plantation era, and it refers to someone who have been too poor to own slaves at that time, which, bad thing, but it happened, sad to say. It was farmers who raised only crack products such as wheat and corn. Cracker was a derogatory term back then, applied to the poor families before the American Revolution. And it's definitely not saltine crackers. In computer terms, a cracker is a security hacker, a person who maliciously exploits weaknesses in a computer or network. A cracker is also a person who uses password cracking techniques to recover passwords, steal passwords. A cracker could also be somebody who takes a piece of software and breaks it, modifies it for their own malicious intent, and or to run it without having a license key. What about a safe cracker? Doesn't that align with lockpicking? Isn't lockpicking part of physical hacking? And if you go out to DEF CON, lockpicking 101 is a big thing out there. I know that if you go upstairs to see Bruce in the hardware hacking village, he's got a bunch of locks set up, so if you want to go over, if you got a lock picking set, I think that he has one or two there to go try and improve your skills. Onward from there. And I turn around and I say, what about code hacking? But anyway, if you're out and about and you mention the term, hey, I went to DEF CON, or you're at DEF CON and somebody sees you, and they say, are you a hacker? And you say, yeah, well, not really, but I go to that. Immediately the connotation is that you're a terrible person, you're evil, you're not a person I want to hang out with, and they look at you oddly. Or, in some instances, they'll turn around and cringe at you. Nasty. It's like, oh, God, you're a hacker. No, I don't want to talk to you. And sometimes they just interpret the word wrong, thinking maybe you're a T-Rex and they just want to run away from you. The card table story. I had to put up little things just to remind me what some of the stories I want to put into it. I walked out of DEF CON this year, walked across from Caesars into the Cromwell. It was, every single day out there, it was like 102 to 111 every single day. It was hot. Night-wise, it was anywhere from 100 down to 95 degrees, and it was hot at night. I walk across the bridge, I get into the Cromwell, I got the badges on me, and they all light up and all the rest. And I sat down at a card table, and there were two women sitting there. And when I sat down, I won the first four hands. So the one woman over here turns around and says, are you a hacker? Did you just come across the street to hack the game? I was like, I'm going to DEF CON, which is a hacker conference. She turns around and she goes, oh my God, and she taps her friend on the side. Shut your cell phones off, it's terrible, he's here to hack our cell phones. I'm like, excuse me, oh my God. I said, no, oh, you're here to hack the card machine. And I'm going, oh, thank you for saying that in front of the pit boss and the card dealer. So the pit boss comes over, a security person walks over a little ways, and I'm sitting there going, hey, everything electronic has a signature. You already know that. Everything electronic theoretically could be broken by injecting another electronic signal towards it, or break it, or who knows what you can do with that. It's up to us to figure it all out. However, every single of the machines that is in a casino has been hardened on separate networks or are not connected to anything, especially the shuffle machine. So security went, works for me, and he walks away. The pit boss turns around, looks at me and goes, yep, we have hackers, damn hackers, and he walks away. And I just turned to him and I said, sometimes you gotta be careful how you use certain terms in society. A hacker is very bad connotations. Going from that, a hacker versus a script kiddie. Anybody familiar with the term script kiddie? Cool. Basically, a script kiddie, also known as a script bunny, a skitty, a script kiddie, it's a term that's used about an unskilled hacker who relies heavily on third-party scripts or programs to wage a cyber war or cyber attack against a network, a system, or a website. They're utilizing somebody else's scripts. The sad part is, when they download them, they may not have any idea how those scripts work or what problems will come knocking on his door or her door. They don't understand, and basically, I consider them, and I think most of us will, that they're an entry-level, potentially malicious person. They're looking to hack. They're looking to find out, and they're just blindly using software. So it's safe to say and use one of my oldest sayings, and that is, a little bit of knowledge can do a lot of damage. And that's so true, especially in our cyber world today. And yes, this is not a talk about script kiddies. It's just I have to throw it out there because everybody's utilizing terms today that sometimes they don't know the meaning of, or they use the word hacker or script kiddie as being malicious and evil. Onward. Does understanding different hacker terms make you a hacker? Now, there's only a sample of some of these. Some of these are old, some of these are new. And the bottom one, I'm sure a lot of us know about, if you know prom or not. But does any of these terms, if you show up at a hacker conference and you're throwing around terms, does that make you a hacker? Maybe not. Maybe not. If you know more than one computer language, whether they're old languages, newer languages, and when I put this thing together, I think there's, up on Wikipedia, I think I used, there was well over 150 different computer languages, which is scary. And it goes on from there that you build them all out. There's a lot of them. Last one in the last column is binary. Anybody program in binary anymore? The reason I threw that into it is my computer ethics teacher, or my business ethics teacher in college, was an ex-manager, if you want to call it that, at IBM. He was one of the field engineers and worked his way up, working on different IBM mainframes back then. He asked anybody in the class, just for grins and giggles, does anybody know how to boot one of the original IBM mainframes? So I said, yeah, you turn the power on, it boots. He said, no, it does start the boot, but you got to go over to a little console and type in ones and zeros, and if you don't get the pattern right, you got to start all over from scratch. Shut everything down, wait a minute, turn it back on, and continue on. And I was like, you got to be joking me. He says, yeah. He said, we program in binary just to get the machine to boot. I was like, wow. If you own or wear hacker-themed t-shirts, does that make you a hacker? Whether it's some of the newer ones. Little story behind that one, the second one. That was made up to actually say that a hacker hacked Calvin Klein, which, whether it's true or not, I couldn't find any stories about, but it's a nice background story. Different types of things. I don't know if you can read that one. The last one over there, make me a sandwich. What? Make it yourself. Sudo, make me a sandwich. Okay. Now, if anybody's familiar with Linux or scripting, once you sign on to a Linux box, you should be using sudo to advance yourself permission-wise to root level so that you can run things at root level. I like that one. CD pub, more beer. And a couple other different ones. You're going to see, or you may have seen, some people walking around ANYCon here with some good t-shirts. I love the Atari one, man. That's old school, I love it. But that's what it is. You're going to see people walking around with different types of shirts on. Does it make them a hacker? No, but they understand sometimes what the hacker philosophies are, and they like to show it off. I mean, duh, look at me. It says 1939. Tyler asked me this morning when I walked in, he says, what's the 1939? And I said, it's HP, where they actually started from out of their garage in 1939. He goes, cool. Another t-shirt. I'm glad to see that we're getting a huge influx of women within cybersecurity. It's long overdue. There have been programmers in the background for many, many years, and it's about time they got out of the background. And I'm a big person to help anybody, whether it's female or male, get out of the background, come up front. From there, we'll go off into an interesting fact, interlude. Does anybody know where the term spam actually originated from? Ooh. And you didn't even get a chance to see me do this. Monty Python created a script back in the 70s about spam, the Hormel spam, the canned spam, poking fun out of it. Because the term in that skit was used so many times, it was annoying. So when the idea of all this junk mail originally started hitting the internet and everybody's email accounts, everybody started using the term spam. And there's no sound, otherwise you would hear the spam song. Vendor supply t-shirts. You've got, when you go out to Black Hat, not so much with DEF CON. DEF CON, you gotta buy your t-shirts. But Black Hat, if you go through the vendor village, or the business, what do they call it? Business village, I think it's called. Vendors are constantly giving out all kinds of swag, whether it's t-shirts, whether it's all kinds of swag. Spinners, last year was spinners, believe it or not. And you get so many different people. A couple of years ago, we had Nike out there, Nike Security. They had a nice party, it was great, and they were handing out t-shirts at it. Some of the other ones, that one's one of my favorites actually, and yes, these are my t-shirts. There's Raytheon Security, and it's great. They come up with some really interesting Cali Lennox, Cali Reveal t-shirts. Metasploit this year is celebrating 25 years, I think it is. So they had they're calling it the Metasploit Tour t-shirt. And you can buy one and they give out stickers for it. And I'm like, that's really cool. I gotta get myself one. So I did. But does any wearing of these make you a hacker? Of course not. They're great looking. However, last year was spinners at Black Hat. This year, believe it or not, were socks. They're giving away socks. And yes, I'm glad to say that I got some. They're cute, they're comfortable, they're free. But seriously, think about it for a minute. If you get a vendor's t-shirt or socks, it doesn't make you a hacker, it doesn't make you security aware. It makes you a free billboard for their product as you walk around advertising who they are. Guess what? They just hacked you. Big thing at the different conferences, of course, is drinking. Does going to some of these parties and drinking at any other con qualify you as a hacker? Oh, I screwed up that slide. And the thing was with this is that I'm looking at it going, you know what, when you go out to these cons, they don't have that amount of drinks. It's more something like that. Because the hackers, even the goons, if they want to try to social engineer them, they'll turn around and say nicely, get me a bottle of booze, get me one of these. So if you carry around some of the little flight bottles, it's amazing what you might get in return. The social engineer, well, they considered a hacker. Well, they use the art of deception to manipulate individuals into divulging confidential personal information that may be used for fraudulent reasons. Malicious hackers use that as different types of tactics because it's easier to exploit a user's weakness than it is a network or a system. So, any corporation, any business that you're in should have some sort of cybersecurity training that also includes the spear phishing things for emails, your spam. But on top of that, they should also include, don't talk about the business, don't talk about certain things, don't divulge things, even if you have a drink or two. Because you never know who you're going to be talking to and how they're trying to social engineer you to get more information. There's a couple different types of social engineering attacks. One of them is baiting, where they use a device that's laying around. A couple years ago at Black Hat, at DEF CON, somebody printed up a bunch of Q codes and they put them all over the walls as you're walking in the hallways in the bathroom or what have you. They were different Q codes. So people were dumb enough to turn around, take their smartphone out and take it. A picture of it. Well, guess what? They just had their phone stolen. Because when you go out to Black Hat, more so at DEF CON in Las Vegas, if you look at the number of cell towers that are out in Vegas around the area of Caesars or wherever DEF CON is going to be, about a month beforehand, you only see maybe 1, 2, or 3 towers. When you go out there during DEF CON, you're going to see 30 or 40 different towers popping up. Why? Because they're called rogue towers. They're out there trying to get you get your phone or device to hook up to their tower to steal your information, to decrypt and or to just break your phone. Another thing is baiting. Well, that's beside the point. I did that already. The other thing that may be laying around could be a USB stick. How many people have actually walked out into a parking lot and saw a USB stick sitting there, take it home, plug it in? What winds up happening? You get your laptop, your home computer infected. Phishing. Well, I just blew past that one. Phishing can be basically fraudulent mail to get you to click onto things or to fool you into that this is an official type of an email. Because we know through our cybersecurity training, we shouldn't be clicking on that stuff. Phishing is a great attack that you get a phone call from somebody. Hi, we're from Microsoft, and we noticed that you haven't updated your system. Could you turn your computer on, please, and type in this URL because we want to help you get your computer up to speed and be safe and secure. Don't do it. One of the best things about that, using any type of social engineering methodology. I think there's like seven or eight different types of social engineering, but utilizing social engineering, does that make you a hacker? Somebody malicious? Somebody evil? Quick hoodie story. I got, last year, I was out at Black Hat, and I was able to get from one of the vendors a hoodie. I wanted this hoodie because it had a great advertisement onto it. I will hack you here, I will hack you there, I will hack you anywhere. And it was a security company, and I liked it. Excuse me. But what was more important and more interesting about it is that it had EL wire all around the edge here, and it lit up and it blinked, and it did really cool things, and I went, I want that. So they said, well, we're not giving them away. You have to take a ticket and win the raffle. So my buddy grabbed the ticket, I grabbed the ticket, and he tried everything he could that day to get one of these. He couldn't get it. So I said, we'll come back tomorrow. So he texts me in the morning, I'm already over here. I'm trying to get that hoodie. My ticket number was nowhere close to what they pulled. He said, so I'm walking away and I'm going home very depressed. I wanted one. I said, well, things happen. Sorry, you didn't win the lottery. Oh well. So I went over. I woke up to their board because they posted all the pulled numbers on the board. And I grabbed my ticket and I looked at it and I go, oh man. And they looked at me and they were like, what? I said, you pulled 0, 0, 0. You're kidding. And he goes over and looks at the board and he goes, yeah, we pulled 0, 0, 0. I said, my ticket said 0, 0, 1. Do you believe this? He goes, you're kidding. Why don't you come over here? Come over here. What's your size? And I told him, and he handed it to me. My ticket number was 389. Social engineering works sometimes evilly, but sometimes for good reasons. I texted him a picture of it, and he turned around and said, you are a bastard. I wanted that. Well, you should have done what you should be doing. So, was that evil of what I did? It's a little white lie. Oh well. You're going to see a lot of people here that have these. And that is when you cover your laptop with stickers, or you get a bunch of the stickers. It's the big thing today, or it's one of the big things that at all cons is giving away stickers. This year at ANYCon, they created the ANYCon sticker, which is awesome. If you don't have one, go see Tyler, go see the front desk, grab one. Or if you got your backpack, I believe there's one in there. You're going to see quite a lot of different people have stickers all over their laptops. Having your laptop covered in different stickers that are cybersecurity or cyber aware, does that make you a hacker also? Excuse me. Hang on a second. We'll go through the next slide while I'm taking a sip. Uh-oh. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. There it is. I think it's really, really cool. I think it's great to decorate your laptop. I think it's real amazing, some of the stickers and some of the shrink wrap that you can get from some of the laptops to decorate your laptop. Would I do that? One of my other laptops, yeah, I got them. It's cool. So I'm not knocking it, but I talked with somebody at DEF CON who was just getting into cybersecurity, but their laptop was already covered in stickers. And I said, well, how long have you been in cybersecurity? I just started last month. I said, well, did you get any training? No, I'm just trying to figure out where I want to go with it. And I said, okay. Are you a hacker? No, I want to be one now. And, well, it takes more than just stickers on your laptop. Big thing last year at DEF CON was people making up tinfoil hats. Now, does making a tinfoil hat and understanding why you're making it up and wearing it, does that make that person a hacker also? In a way, it does. Why? A, they put on, I took a picture live from a person out at DEF CON this year, and I said, don't worry, I'll blur out your face. I do that with all of them. The first picture was actually, I grabbed it off the internet. But they had a whole contest area there at Black Hat, there at DEF CON, where you can go over, grab the tinfoil, and start making up your hats. As many as you want, and whatever design you want. And I'll be honest with you, I think it's really, really cool. I think it's a great thing. I talked to Tyler, maybe we should be doing it here next year. The idea of a tinfoil hat is to help your brain not absorb so many radio frequency waves. Well, does that make you a hacker? Yes. Because you're taking tinfoil and putting it into a different format than what it was originally designed to do. You're making something out of it. You're hacking that tinfoil. A little bit of humor. The guy come up to me a couple years ago. He says, do you know of any way I can learn how to code in 24 hours or in a single night? I told him honestly, yeah, pack up a laptop, travel to the North Pole. In the beginning of winter, you'll have 6 months of night to learn how to code. Go for it, Scooter. And he just looked at me going, you're a smart ass. And he says, most people in the IT security are. Got a piece of software. On the box it said to install on Windows 7 or better. So I said, better? So I installed Linux. Okay, bad jokes, I know. Anybody in this software industry, sometimes you're on a deadline, you can't get it to compile, you can't get it to do what you want it to do, but when it finally compiles, what's the first letter of the manager's mouth? Ship it, it's ready. If you give somebody a program, you'll frustrate them for a day. If you teach them how to program, you'll frustrate them for a lifetime. I think that's a very apropos type of comment, comment for anybody in the security industry, because there's software out there that we can write, and yeah, it can frustrate us quite a lot too. Trying to get that right coding to get it to do what we're looking for it to do. I love this little saying, the truth is out there. Does anybody have the URL for it? And I love this one too. The computer beat me at chess, but it was no match for kickboxing. So on from there. The term hacker in today's society, the media has overtaken this esteemed term to mean something malicious, evil, always breaking in without authorization to steal information, drain bank accounts, steal private photos from your phone, your home computers, steal your drone, do anything that they want to do to overcome security, break into your social media accounts, and or your home, if you have a smart home, be very careful, because yes, you can break into a lot of these smart homes. But the media, I'll back up a second there, but the Hacker Society calls them criminals. They're attackers. They're malicious and or possibly state-sponsored against another state. And I'm not talking New York State against California or California against the United States. I'm saying a state-sponsored terrorism and or hacking group, hacking from China to another country. So it would be country to country. But why has the media so demonized this term, and now we're almost afraid to use it in everyday life? Why? Does the media always get things correct when they're doing articles or media presentations? No. They look for the shortest possible route to get the biggest bang for the buck. And that is, a hacker broke it. The hackers are evil. The hackers are mean. They're cruel people. No, they're not. No, they're not. Let's look at this. From CSO magazine, again, hacker term in today's society. Cyber criminals use malware and exploit to steal money, motivation for big financial gain. Spammers, yeah, okay, now I'm looking at the term hacker as a malicious person, not a good person. Spammers and adware spreaders, financial gain through illegal, persistent, advanced persistent threat agents.
We just love some of that stuff that they send to us.
Especially the Viagra stuff, I love it. Aiming to steal intellectual property, in for the long haul, sells to the highest bidder. Corporate spies, focused on short to midterm financial gains by stealing corporate information, intellectual property. Hacktivists, politically motivated, religious or environmental, or personal beliefs by themselves. They're out to embarrass, deface websites, and they can easily slip into number 4, being corporate sites. Those are malicious people. They're not hackers, they're just malicious people. Let's get the term straight, media. They're malicious people. Cyber warriors. We're using that, well, talk right before me was about the cyber warfare that they're doing, or building up cyber warfare for the defense industry. That's a great thing. But I'll disagree with CSO magazine on this. They're saying city-state against city-state exploitation, endgame to disable military capabilities, may operate in an APT or CS at sometimes. Yeah, but you also have people that are building up within the military that are smart and they're there to defend. That's a good thing. You do have bad ones that are out there. Again, state-sponsored. Rogue hackers. Basically, they're out to prove their skill, bragging rights, thrilled to engage in unauthorized activities, may consist of petty criminals, nuisances or nuisance, and or they're script kiddies. They are smart, they know what they're doing, but they're sometimes lazy and they're just out there for whatever they want to get. So, let's turn it all around here. So what really makes you a real hacker? Real hackers are people who have a never-ending drive to learn. They push boundaries, create things, dig deep into a subject, discover new roads and into techniques, discover new connections between hardware and software. They never stop the learning process and or the process of discovery. True hackers are mathematicians, scientists, robots that are in robotics, well, scientists into robotics, or software and network engineers, programmers, physicians, specialists in any field, from any walk of life, athletes, gardeners, plumbers, roofers, ornithologists, anyone who cannot stop bettering themselves by learning, twisting things around to make a square peg fit into an octagonal hole. Excuse me. I came back from, we got one more. They're not evil. They're just doing their job. pushing boundaries that exist all around us. They're trying to discover new and ingenious ways to solve problems. That's the true hacker. I come back from the security conferences out in Las Vegas, and I had a doctor's appointment. I'll go to see the doctor. He says, have you been traveling? I said, yeah, I just come back from Las Vegas. He goes, great, you're out there on vacation, right? I said, well, not really. I said, I'm out there for business. I went to Black Hat, which is an IT security conference, and I went to DEF CON, which is really our hacker conference. Sitting on his wheelie little chair, he pushed back and looked at me and went, oh my God, you're a hacker. I'm taking care of a hacker. The nurse's face went white. And I said, whoa, 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 before you start passing out, calling the cops or anything like that, doctor, you were a student, and what intrigued you and what wet your whistle for knowledge was medical industry. He goes, well, yeah. I said, you went through college, you got your degrees. From there, you wanted to do more. You started becoming an intern. You interned for 4 to 6 years, give or take? He goes, well, it was a while. I said, but all the time you're learning, you're studying, you're retesting yourself, you pushed the limits, you kept going, you became a doctor, a medical doctor. Did you stop learning? He goes, no. I said, good. You get all kinds of pamphlets from the AMA and everybody else, and you're reading things from drug companies, which are evil, but that's a different story and another talk. But you're learning, you're pushing yourself, you're trying to help your patients. He turned around and just folded his arms and goes, I never realized I was a hacker. I said, you are. The color came back to the nurse's face, and I went, cool. I thought you were going to pass out here. I wasn't going to be able to catch you either. But it's true. Once you realize and once you tell people what exactly a hacker is, they back off and they look at you and they go, wow, I never thought of it that way. Last line, I didn't finish it, and that's my bad. They're trying to, being new hackers or hackers, are trying to discover new and ingenious ways to solve problems with as little amount of code as possible. And that's an inside joke for any programmer. Do hackers have ethics? Why, yes, Dorothy, they do. They discourage black hat hacking. They encourage white hat hacking. They encourage sharing of information. I mean, you wouldn't have ANYCon without that ethic of sharing the information that people have learned with other people. It's that idea of sparking somebody that may follow in your footsteps or may take that information and build something bigger and better. And in turn, they share it with their community. They share it at another con. Teaching about hacking and developing skills for others that will follow. Hands-on imperative. The hacker ethic basically says you gotta have your hands on the subject because that's what is the right thing to do. Yeah, I'll agree with that because you can't always learn everything out of a book or from a certification. You gotta get into it, you gotta roll your sleeves up and get dirty sometimes. So it's a hands-on type of thing. Modern hackers who hold true to these hacker ethics, especially the hands-on imperative, are usually supporters of free and open source software. And that is a true statement. Because the hackers that started Linux, they come up with an idea, or he came up with an idea, Linus Torvalds came up with an idea, he built on it. From there, he got other people involved. Linux today is one of the most, or if not the most popular software that's out there, popular operating system. So, but I believe that they should also have, as an ethic, they should also combine a morality. And that morality, according to the dictionary.com, on morals, principles of habit with respect to what is right or wrong. Is it wrong to break into a corporate network? Yes, if you do it without permission and you get caught, you should have the law come down on top of you to the full extent. No, because you're going to have red teams, you're going to have penetration testers that are out there doing their job, getting the permission, and that's the whole thing. They did it right. They got permission to go in and do this. Maybe they were hired to do it. That's awesome. But the idea of combining an ethic, also with a little bit of morality, and that's what I believe, truly believe, having dealt with hackers, having dealt with different people who, throughout the years, that have either learned or developed different software and hardware, they understand the differences between right and wrong. And sometimes you even get a hacker that has been malicious for many years, gets arrested, spent time in jail, wakes up to the fact that I'm out there hacking to try to make a living, but I just got arrested, my name's all over the papers, I'm famous now, I should be able to make money on this. And they do. They make a lot of money. And good for them. And it's good that they turn their life around to say, I'm not going to be evil anymore, I'm going to be a true hacker. And that's good. If you are truly a hacker, then the words cannot be done, or impossible, or no are not part of your personal daily dictionary. Never-ending thirst for knowledge. We come to these cons to learn something new. We go to a bookstore. Sad to say, the bookstores, what do we have? We only have a couple that are out there now. Sad to say, their aisles for technology have dwindled. So we go to Amazon, we go to some of the Books A Million. We go to other different places. One of the ones that I really enjoy is the No Starch Press. They have some great books up there that were written by hackers. That's awesome. The idea of rewriting or recreation of your old code or old ideas into new techniques and new tricks and sharing that information. Teaches and shares. That's the definition of a true hacker. But my terminologies, I'm going to throw out a couple ones. A hacker, okay, smart, ever-learning person, twisting and turning life's problems till they find a solution. A macker, a malicious hacker, a person who learned all this stuff, but they're malicious. I'll just jokingly call them a macker, they're not a hacker. Sorry for the rhyming. Have a little bit more, a slacker. Everybody knows that sometimes they just want to slack off at work or whatever, but have you ever seen people that learn a little bit, but they go and steal somebody else's code and say, this is mine? They're lazy. Stop being lazy, get out, learn. There's so much to be learned within the cybersecurity, within the computer field. A whacker, it's a wannabe hacker, somebody who thinks they are, but they're not really. They're just a wannabe. I can go through a couple different other terms. They're all about joking around with it. A packer, somebody who hacks for pizza, enough said. A backer, hey, look at this, usually includes pizza and beer. This one is a good one, because if you're going to use the term hacker and combine it with another terminology for like somebody who loves to talk, and they'll talk and brag, and if they start getting too much alcohol into them, they start opening up and saying things that they shouldn't be saying. And if you're sitting in a crowd of people and you start bragging about a hack that you did, be careful. The walls do have ears today. Everybody is carrying around a cell phone that can record or video what you're saying and throw up onto YouTube. So if you just hack something, don't brag about it. Be proud, but to yourself, as long as you don't hurt anybody. So that's basically the end of the talk. It's been a jovial type of thing that I think the media has just blown the term hacker way out of proportion, and they should be ashamed of that. They should be utilizing for what it is. A hacker is a good person. A hacker is somebody that constantly learning, constantly twisting life's problems. Well, I say, is it the end? Never. There's always new ways to discover how to do things better. If you've ever had that never-ending thirst at any age, race or nationality, get out there, hack, learn, but do it in a sandbox. But while you're working in a sandbox, make sure you don't start stumbling over the kitty clumps. And that's a joke for anybody who's actually had kids out in their yard, they got a sandbox, And the kids start looking at things and picking up things, because technically in an electronic sandbox, if you don't pay attention, shit's gonna happen. Pay attention, learn how to set up a sandbox correctly, and do all your hacking, all your testing. There's so many different links that are out there to set up capture the flag things. Set it up on your laptop, set it up at home. Make sure it doesn't go out though, because some of this stuff is really malicious. That's basically it. I hope everybody had fun. This is my second talk that I've actually ever done. The first talk, a large company came to me and said, "You're utilizing our product. You're probably the only person we know of that is utilizing this for application security. Could you write up a dissertation?" And I did, and I presented it to New York State, all the ISOs at that time. And it was a lot of fun, and it actually helped IBM a little bit better to help get their product out there, and that was AppScan, the DAST tool. Other than that, I'm done. Y'all have a great evening. If there's any questions, go ahead, fire away. Anybody seen the DEF CON badge from this year? What's really, really cool is going out to DEF CON, getting badges, or getting badges and building them yourself is really, really cool. If you've never had an opportunity to get into hardware hacking and or soldering and learning how to do this stuff, it's hacking 101 really. It's part of hacking 101. I've got some other badges here with me from Hacker Warehouse, the hacker, what do they call it, the car hacking village at DEF CON badge, if I can find it. It's probably one of the most ingenious ones I've ever seen. It is so cool. And I think I'm loud enough, I don't think I need the microphone. I think we can probably kill the recording.